Всем привет! Мы едем снимать интервью с американцем.
Да. И у нас
Так, сегодня у нас снова Оля и Саша. Я не знаю, как сделать. Оль, ты меня будешь страховать с английским, потому что я сейчас, возможно, буду вырезать свои вопросы. Я не знаю, как это будет. Сейчас посмотрим. Потому что у меня вопросы написаны на русском.
ну да.
Я не хочу сейчас вылизывать вот их, чтобы ты там переводила на английский.
Да.
Я буду читать.
Представляешь, как я буду сейчас это все переводить?
Ты, главное, не дави на Джона, чтобы он говорил только правду, ничего кроме правды.
Говорить.
Сейчас он даст клятву нам.
Да, Гиппократ. Он очень занят. Человек
Пока что Джон...
Помнишь, наша Раша, вот этот Светлаков или как?
Да-да-да.
Он так и говорит. Он разговаривает с телевизором.
Сейчас пока что Джон расслабляется и смотрит американский футбол. Всем привет! Я ж по-русски разговариваю,
Привет.
точно. Сегодня у нас долгожданное интервью. Американец Джон. Yep?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, great. Okay, I hope you will understand me. I'm sorry for my English, first
I'm
of
sure
all.
it will be fine.
First of all, thank you.
Absolutely.
And I want to ask you to be very honest. I don't need that you will be polite and that you want to be good for everyone. So I really, and people like when it's everything is honest.
Yes.
So if you don't like me, just say me. I don't like you. Go home, and I will go. Okay.
Okay. No problem. I don't
Okay.
think that will happen, but okay.
So and the first question.
Okay.
Is it true that Americans don't like Russians? Russian-speaking people or Russian?
Well, I don't know. It hasn't been my experience. I will say, so when I was growing up in high school, 70s, 80s, the Cold War era, at that time, you know, Russia was the enemy, a lot of propaganda on both sides, right? Both Russia against the U.S., U.S. against Russia, etc. So in the 80s, if someone had said, oh, you're going to marry a Ukrainian woman at some point in your life, would I have said, you're crazy, you know? So maybe some people left over from that, it's possible, but I think ever since the Cold War has ended and whatnot, I think it's, I don't know, no longer the case. At least none of my friends really hate Russians that I'm aware of. So
Some friends hate.
no, do not.
No?
I'm not aware of anybody. None of my friends. I've had people talk to me since I've married a Ukrainian friends, you know, over Facebook, has said, hey, how did you meet? It's really cool. I haven't been to Ukraine, what it's like. Have you been to Russia yet? And things like that. So I don't think so. I think people are more open. In the 80s, I would have said probably yes, you know, but now I don't think so.
Ну, а у меня наоборот. I think, you remember that story about golf club? They think Russians are strippers. Russian girls are all like kind of from that.
Well, I mean, there are some who are
У тебя
over
такой
here.
серьезный вид для таких рогов.
Я что, не рассказывала? Мы были с Милой, с Рябинкой на подработке, гольф. Надо было разливать напитки для гольферов. И мы стояли в маленьком тенте, просто красиво одеты, но не пошло, ничего. И подходили ребята, которые играли, и говорили, покажите свои сиськи, снимите вот так майку, и мы вам заплатим. Или покатайся на моей маленькой вот этой гольф-машинке. Вот. И они говорят, oh, it's Russian strippers, yeah! And Mila was very offended. Like, oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
remember.
So, ну, мне было смешно, я говорю, иди броди, но ну, как бы $200 они заплатили за такую работу, но мы имели что слушать. То есть такое отношение к русским женщинам, девушкам, все такое как бы пошло, как-то сальные шуточки такие. Ну, я привыкла.
Теперь давайте начнем сначала. Just I will introduce you and Olga, because maybe not everyone's understand who is who.
Yes, right, okay.
So here is John and Olga, wife and husband, husband and wife, and Olga is, maybe I should speak Russian this way right now. Оля и Джон. Оля из Одессы. Оля вышла замуж за Джона. Сколько? 4 года назад. 4 года назад. 4 года тоже в Америке. И мы, в общем, плюс-минус в одно время сюда приехали, в Шарлотт. У Оли есть свой ребенок, у Джона есть тоже ребенок, да? Один.
Вот он, она в Теннесси, да? В Нэшвилл.
Nashville. Yeah.
Next question.
I will say one other thing. I don't think that a lot of Americans like or trust the Russian government, which would be different from Russian people. You know
We
what I mean?
will talk about politicals a bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, I have such question.
Okay.
Some Americans don't like immigrants.
Mhm.
Is it true?
Probably some. There are Americans who have never traveled anywhere around the world. I mean, and matter of fact, there are people who never moved more than maybe 15 miles from where they grew up. They don't have much life experience other than right around them. And for them, probably immigrants are a strange thing. And anytime people experience something that's strange, they usually don't like it. So do I think there are some people like that? I would say, yeah, I'm sure there are. I would say, though, the vast majority of Americans are pretty accepting of immigrants. Most are fine with immigrants. Now, I think it kind of depends on what happens. People are more accepting of immigrants who try to become an American, like part of America, as opposed to they start waving their country flag and acting like it's their country in America. When you saw a couple years ago Mexicans walking around waving Mexican flags, running down the street saying they deserve special rights and wearing a Mexican flag, well, sorry, fuck you. No, you don't. Go back to fucking Mexico. I have no problem if you want to come here anywhere, and I don't think most do, about, come to the United States, make your home, but don't wave your flag and say...
Like make some separation inside the country.
Yeah, I mean, so...
And come in legal.
Come in legal, yes.
Yes.
That's the other thing, come in legal. Most Americans have a big problem with people who try to come in illegal, under the table, take jobs, don't do things the right way, then demand rights or demand free stuff. Yeah, Americans don't like that. Most Americans don't like that.
How much do you pay for my legal documents to come to US? Because this is expensive.
Yeah, it was
Сними
expensive.
рога, это...
Мои рога — это part of me. Okay. Хотя не, он мне не наставляет рога.
Let me think. So it was 2-step process, and we actually did a 3rd step just to try to get. So I don't know. I think probably $4,000, maybe $5,000.
So it's not so bad. If Mexicans can afford it, maybe they can just do it legal and
Well,
proper.
there's ways for them to do it legal and not do it as expensive. I mean, I've known people who did
Really?
it. Well, I think it's better to use an attorney. So I used an attorney to do it, right? You don't have to use an attorney. You can fill the paperwork out yourself.
And it can be cheaper.
And it's much cheaper. I mean, you can download the forms off of the
Oh, they can
government
work
website.
with you. You attorney. They can pay you.
It's in my past. No,
It's in
no,
your
no.
past.
Can imagine.
So America, that America is a country of immigrants.
Yes.
Yes. So, who was your parents? Who in what generation you come to America?
Show his parents first.
Okay.
Yeah, you can talk.
All right. So my whole mom's side of the family is Italian.
Вот точно Джон, он так похож на Джона.
So your parents, his parents,
yes.
they're from Italy.
My mom. My mom's side of the family is from Italy. And let me think. My mom is 3rd generation Italian. So they came over to Ellis Island. Ellis Island, do you know anything of the history of Ellis Island? So Ellis Island was in the 1920s. It was an island off of New York City, near New York City. And on Ellis Island, they had an old prison that they turned into a waiting and interview place and medical examination for immigrants coming to the United States. There was thousands, millions of Italians and others from Europe coming over. I think it was right after World War I or near World War I. And anyway, so my mom's early generation, so 3 before her, came to Ellis Island and met there and got married afterwards.
Прям в тюряге.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because what you would happen is you would come into Ellis Island, they would register your name.
Возле Статуи Свободы есть маленький остров, если ты знаешь, в Нью-Йорке. Там раньше стояла большая тюрьма, и там всех вот этих иммигрантов держали, чтобы проверять от вирусов, от всякой срачки, все. И там они знакомились и женились.
And your father was from?
My father's family is, let me think, a combination of British and German, and then maybe like Irish or Scottish, something like that. So,
Ох, намесили.
so anyway, but they came over to Ellis Island on my mom's side. They met. What would happen is they would come in to Ellis Island, they register their name, and they would do a medical examination and the process in their background check, and sometimes it would take, is the air too loud? It would take maybe a few weeks. And so they would stay there in rooms, and then people would meet sometimes. So that was how my mom's,
How old she was?
I don't know how, well, it wasn't my mom, it was my mom's mother's, her father's father.
Okay, it's
Anyway,
too long story.
Yes, exactly. And, I was actually born in New York State.
Oh,
My
you
dad,
like New York?
I only lived there till I was like 5, so I really don't remember anything about New York.
But you traveled to New York?
I've been to New York City, yeah.
Со мной.
Yeah, New York City's cool to go to. I wouldn't want to live there. Traffic, too many people. It's, you know, too much.
Живи в маленькой комнатушке такой,
Yeah,
2 на
small
2.
rooms, way too expensive now.
Холодильник не работает.
Yeah. But it's cool to go to.
Прачка на 1 этаж, там даже нет этой...
Это если хорошо,
Это
если
еще
есть.
повезет.
Да. Do you like to travel?
I love to travel.
What is the best state, you think? Let's another way. What is the best state to live, and what is the best state to relax, to have vacation?
Well, the great thing about the U.S. is it's a very big country, and there's lots of different things to do all over the U.S. and lots of different geography, et cetera. So you could stay busy just traveling to different places in the U.S. Personally, I like the southeastern U.S. to live in. I think the cost of living is most reasonable. There are
Southeastern is our part.
yes,
From North Carolina to Florida.
yeah, North or South Carolina, North Carolina over to Tennessee and Kentucky, kind of over to the Mississippi River, and down to the Gulf Coast, down to the water, down to Florida. So, and there are, within the Southeast, there are 3 states that have no state income tax. South Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida. And so, but even if you have a state income tax, the cost of living, the real estate taxes in general are lower in the southeastern U.S., at least right now. North Carolina is a pretty nice place to live, particularly Charlotte. The temperatures and climate's great. You're 2 hours from the mountains, 3-4 hours from the beach. You know, there's nice lakes. It's a pretty nice location. Charlotte's a, good sized city with lots of things going on. It has fine arts, it has sports, pro sports, and good university system. NASCAR racing.
Prices for real estate as well.
Yeah, it's great for real estate. You could live on the South Carolina side, right over the border, still take advantage of the benefits of Charlotte and not have a state income tax. So this is a pretty nice area. Now, in terms of visiting, it really kind of depends on what you like. If you want to talk about history, you know, the northeastern U.S. would be the best because it's got, I mean, that's where really pretty much the U.S. started. It was the original main, Washington, D.C., New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, things like that is what I'm talking about. There's lots of great history. I mean, so the original, Washington, D.C. was not the original capital of the United States. The original capital was Philadelphia.
Там есть даже колокол красивейший такой большой, в который они там позвонили, и это было провозглашение независимости.
They created Washington, D.C. because they didn't want any state to have the capital of the country and say we're most important because we have the capital. So they made Washington, D.C. its own little place. So anyway, so for history, I would, the Northeast is loaded with the historical buildings, historical architecture, much more European looking in the way it is. Yeah, I mean, so it's great. If you want to talk about outdoors, the best skiing is all in the West. Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, fantastic snow skiing. I mean, if you want to have great snow skiing, really, I mean, a lot of the top snow skiers in the world, even from other countries, will come train in.
It's expensive, yes.
Yes, it's expensive, but it's phenomenal. If you can go, it's worth it to go. And California is awesome to visit. The West Coast, they're particularly like San Diego on the southern part. Unbelievable weather. Beaches are amazing. The weather all year long is beautiful. It's a great place.
Нет, ты не была? Ничего особенного.
Ты была?
Да.
Класс.
Yeah, I was in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's awesome, right?
Yes, it's nice, but it's when it's all year round and all year round and again and again.
It's boring.
Yes, it's boring, and there's no rains when Helen with my brother come to Charlotte, they take a video of rain. Like, oh my gosh, it's raining, and they run outside
To get the rain.
to get the rain. Yes, because they live just maybe 1 year and a half. And what is the worst state? You will not suggest if like
New Jersey.
New Jersey?
There's nothing in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's the armpit of America.
What is the most criminal and dangerous and maybe boring?
Most criminal and dangerous. Chicago, probably. I mean, there's a lot of crime in Chicago. In New York City, you got to be careful if you go to the wrong place. It can be bad. Memphis has a lot of crime. Memphis, Tennessee. San Francisco now is getting really bad. I don't know. I would probably be. I used to really want to take her to San Francisco. I'm not sure I want to right now. It's gotten the crime in San Francisco has gotten really bad.
What about Detroit?
Detroit's not great. Yeah, you got to be careful where you go in Detroit too. And you don't want to go downtown to certain parts of that city at night. I mean, really, it can be bad. A lot of drug use and dangerous stuff.
What about Atlanta?
Well, yeah, Atlanta's crime has gotten really bad too. And you want to be careful around the downtown of Atlanta at night. Yeah.
Do you know that Atlanta is the biggest city of prostitutes?
No.
They have prostitutes more than in 3 or 4 states.
Really? I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, we talked with my followers a few weeks ago, and they asked me how much is cost a prostitute.
You should know.
Why? I've never bought a prostitute. I haven't.
And then Google it, and that is why I know that Atlanta is so popular with prostitutes.
I don't know why.
The only thing I knew about was Jacksonville, Florida. I know they chose Jacksonville for one of the Super Bowls.
What is?
Super Bowl is football,
okay.
Professional football. And one of the reasons why they chose Jacksonville, it's got entertainment. Yeah, one of the highest number of prostitute locations in the country. Is in Jacksonville.
Okay,
So-
now I know.
And, you know, anyway, But-
Okay, have
Very
very
important information.
very important interview.
it
You
is,
have
yes.
know a lot.
You know, but I didn't. I've never had a prostitute, baby.
Координаты
I haven't.
вот здесь, вот в этой